Eliminating water poverty goes beyond just quenching someone's thirst. It also eliminates many inequalities that millions of Indians face today. It eliminates gender inequality. With clean water, we empower women to rise above becoming water wives. It eliminates corruption and economic predators. With access to wells in communities, water mafias are put out of business. It eliminates economic hardship in rural communities. With access to irrigation water, farmers can support themselves and their families. It eliminates political unrest. With access to the most basic human need, we create a more harmonious society. What starts with a drop of water ripples outward, promoting solutions for gender inequality, economic mobility, civic pride, and climate change. When you eliminate water poverty, you create a better India.
Hi everyone, good morning. I hope you had a wonderful Diwali and we wish you all the very happy New Year for some of the people who celebrate the New Year's today. My name is Dolly Parikh from Overseas Volunteers for a Better India. On behalf of the OVBI Water team and partners, I want to welcome you to the OVBI Water Live series. With an intention of eliminating water poverty, OVBI volunteers have been working with partners in India to solve India's biggest environmental, economic, and social challenge, and they have come together to share their vision of transforming India together today. I would like to introduce Satej Chaudhary, the President of Overseas Volunteers for a Better India, to moderate the session with our passionate colleagues and volunteers today who would give us an update of all their projects in 2019 and 2020. Welcome, Satej.
Thank you, Dolly, and welcome everyone to today's session. We're very excited about this episode today because we bring you what all we've been busy at over the past year. And without further ado, I'd just like to get us straight into the presentation. First, I'd like to invite Satya Purushan and Pooja Gupta, who are heading our Karnataka initiatives. I'd like to hear from them what's going on. Take it on, Satya and Pooja. Thank you.
Thanks, Satej. So let me introduce the Grand Karnataka project. Back in 2018, we had started working with the Art of Living on ground as an execution partner, where we did some groundwater rejuvenation project in the district of Gadag in the state of Karnataka. As a part of the project, we did interventions in 108 villages throughout Gadag. And looking at the success of that project and what Art of Living had done in the Kumudvati and Vedavati watershed areas, Government of Karnataka got interested to sign an MOU with the Art of Living as a sole partner to execute it throughout Karnataka. And hence we got a Pan-Karnataka project called the Grand Karnataka project here. And here, as part of the interventions, we will be building micro recharge structures throughout the Karnataka, where we would be doing some conservation. We will be conserving rainwater. We will be doing some water body rejuvenations. And this project is a $650 million project over a period of 3 years. But the non-governmental investment needed from our side, from our non-governmental partners, it would be only $3 million, which provides us a very unique leverage. Let me take you through the numbers. So the project will be rolled out in 29 districts of Karnataka, where 45 million people will be impacted. And the number of people that will be employed to execute this project would be 3 million. And to coordinate the work on ground, we will be training 48,000 youth leaders, of which we have already 815 working on ground, trained and working on ground. We will be building 500,000 recharge structures, microstructures, of which work has been already initiated in on 32,515 structures. There will be 27,000 villages that will be impacted through this. and work has been already completed in 136 villages in the past few months. To further take deep dive into the project, I invite Satya to take over.
Thank you, Pooja. And for the viewers, this is a 30,000-foot view of the project plan. Every single one of the 29 districts has their own plan spanning a 3-year period. And if anyone is interested, we can definitely provide the further details. Just wanted to give everyone an bird's eye view of this. So as Pooja mentioned, we have a huge foundation that is being created with rejuvenating the groundwater system for the entire state of Karnataka. And we have a unique opportunity to put together the future steps for us. One of them is sustainability. With the groundwater being ready, we can go ahead and start planting native species of trees, and which can start restoring back the ecosystem. We call that as a riverine ecosystem, where it starts attracting birds, starts attracting bees, starts getting the wildlife together. And we want the water cycle to take care of itself. And that's the sustainability that we're looking at. On top of it, as Pooja mentioned, we have a lot of youth that are working with us to execute this project. And we want to create youth entrepreneurs out of this. So that way the local economy in the local villages can become sustainable for the future. And they'll also make sure that they'll take care of the structures that we've built and the ecosystem that we have created for them. And how do we do this? We are partnering with like-minded NGOs like Rotary Foundation, IIT for IIT, AT Chandra Foundation, and so on. And we have been already working on a pilot project that we're doing in Chikballapur and Kolar districts, like 2 talukas, so we can get an holistic impact analysis of this. We also use tech extensively in our project in all the 4 phases, like planning, execution, monitoring, and impact assessment. The planning is actually done with scientific analysis that we do with satellite imagery, and that gives us where do we go and create these 500,000 structures that we just talked about. And we are also using a mobile app that helps us execute the steps of the project and also monitor the progress of the project. And the post-implementation impact assessment is going to be done using the tech, which we will talk through in this session a little bit later. So anybody who's interested to engage with us, and more than welcome to connect with us. I also wanted to highlight, we like to engage with local NGOs who have expertise in whatever the regions that we have in Karnataka. And on my screen, we have the Western Ghats, which range all the way from Kerala to Maharashtra. And 60% of the Western Ghats are in Karnataka. And that is birthplace of many of the major rivers in Karnataka. So you can understand why we are more interested in investing here. So we found a local NGO, SARA, Sustainable Alternatives for Rural Accord, whose main mission for them was to get the village local people together by art and culture. And their vision is to restore the ecosystem in the Western Ghats. So we did a pilot project with them, lake desilting, 3 lakes that were desilted, and with our partnership, the total cost was about $14,000. Third of the cost came from the villagers, third from OVBI, and third from SARA Foundation themselves. And the results were amazing. The whole lake desilting was done in 1/5 of the cost that was estimated by the government, creating about 27 million gallon water capacity that did not exist before. So we will be looking into the future to see what else we can do. And this is a model that we know that we can scale to not only to Karnataka, but to other parts of the country too. And that was it for Karnataka. So Satish will introduce Tamil Nadu.
Thank you so much, Satya and Pooja, for this awesome coverage of all the work we've been doing. Very excited about this project. Next, I'd like to invite Dolly Parikh to come in and share about our award-winning project in Tamil Nadu. Take it on, Dolly.
Thank you, Satej. We'll watch this video.
Women are sisters, daughters, wives, friends, and mothers. In India, we call them Janani, the ones who give birth. Last weekend, I had a rare and beautiful opportunity to meet these women who had given birth to a river.
நிலத்தடி நீர்மட்டம் உயர்ந்து எங்க விவசாய நிலங்கள்ல 3 பாகமும் பயிர் செஞ்சோம். 3 பாகமும் பயிர் செஞ்சதுனால வருமானம் அதிகரிச்சது.
This was Vidya Bhaskaran, the leader of one of the self-help groups in Salamanathan, one of the worst droughted areas in Tamil Nadu. Today, her village is water surplus. How did all this happen? In 2014, the villagers from Salamanathan came to the Art of Living teacher, Chandrasekharan Kuppan, with their water woes. Naganadi, the river that irrigated their fields, had dried up. He decided to replicate the success story of the rejuvenation of the river Kumudavati in Karnataka. Without any help, financial or otherwise, he and a few of his friends pooled their resources and put down a few recharge structures in the village prior to the rains.
அது முடிச்சதுக்கப்புறம் ஒரு 3 மாதத்தில் 2 மழை சின்ன மழை தான் வந்தது. அதில் பேஞ்ச மழையிலேருந்து தண்ணியெல்லாம் நிறைய வந்து அது ஃபில் ஆனதுக்கு அந்த வெள்ளெல்லாம் ஃபில் ஆச்சு. அது ஃபில் ஆனதுக்கப்புறம் அந்த ஊர் மக்களுக்கெல்லாம் 10 வருஷம் 15 வருஷம் தண்ணி இல்லாத கிணத்துல தண்ணி வந்ததை பார்த்து சந்தோஷம் பண்ணிட்டாங்க.
The women in the village realized the worth of this promising project. They tucked in their saris, picked up their shovels and got down to work. With a no-nonsense attitude, they did whatever it was required to get water to their village.
ரீசார்ஜ் வெல்லுன்ற வேலை வந்தது. அதில் வந்து 20 அடி ஆழம் இறக்கணும்னு சொன்னாங்க. ஆரம்பத்தில் நாங்கள் பயந்தோம். அதுக்கப்புறமா ஒரு குரூப்பாக ஒரு 10 பெண்களாக ஒரு குரூப்பாக விட்டு 20 அடி ஆழம் நோண்டி 11 ரிங்கு ஜல்லி எல்லாம் பேக் பண்ணி எங்களாலேயும் செய்ய முடியும் அப்படின்ட்டு எங்கள் பஞ்சாயத்தில் வந்து 25 கிணறு நோண்டணும்.
The Art of Living capacity building programs infused them with a tireless spirit that spelled success for the project. 2018, surplus water, 3 crops a year, lush green environment, happy people. But that's not the end of the story. Now that they have water in their wells, they take 3 crops a year. How has all this impacted their lives? Come, let's listen to it from the women themselves.
பசங்கள்லாம் நல்லா படிக்க வைக்கிறாங்க. எங்கேயும் லோன் வாங்க வேண்டிய வேலை இல்லை. விவசாயத்திலே அவங்களுக்கு தேவையானது எல்லாமே கிடைக்குது.
நான் அந்த வாயில் வந்து போன வருஷம் கூட 1 லட்சம் 1.5 லட்சம் நாங்கள் பயிர் எடுத்து நாங்கள் வீடு கட்டியிருக்கோம்.
இதே மாதிரி தமிழ்நாடு ஃபுல்லாகவே இந்த தண்ணி இந்த ரீசார்ஜ் வேலை செஞ்சால் ரொம்ப பயன்படுவாங்க. நம்மளால எங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சதை இன்னொருத்தருக்கு நாங்கள் சொல்லி தருவோங்க. அவங்களும் அதில் முக்கியத்துவம் எடுக்கணும்னு நினைக்கிறாங்க. நாங்கள்
This was the Tamil Nadu project. It has been super inspiring. And we continue with the success of these projects. We continue our work in more villages now. In fact, more districts. We have expanded to 10 more districts in Tamil Nadu. And I won't go through this dense slide, but I just wanted to bring some of the key features of this project in Tamil Nadu. For this project, 90% of women have contributed to the construction of this and have been paid daily wages through the Narega scheme. This has resulted in a reduced migration because others have seen the opportunity for income generation. Here we are seeing how this rainwater has been trapped to create more capacity that can be accessed, and the river has been revived. The wells have now water within them, and it has been a great successful project. We will also see that the farming, the produce has increased quite a well. The agriculture practices have been thriving in this region, and that has resulted in the soil fertility as well as the soil moisture of the region. As I mentioned before, we have been seeing migrations back into the villages. Children of the elderly farmers are coming back in the work and make profits from their produce. I would also like to add to this that this particular project recently won the Jalseki Abhiyan's first prize for a successful project that was executed. Based on this strength, we have currently planned to create more than 4,000 structures this year alone, and some 36,000 recharge structures. And the work has already started in 7 of the districts. That is pretty much about Tamil Nadu. Satesh, back to you.
Thank you, Dolly, for sharing about the Tamil Nadu project. That's very exciting. Now I'd like to bring in Datta Patil, who has been, actually let me bring in Deepak Bhatter, who's going to talk about our projects in Maharashtra.
Thank you, Satish.
Yeah. Go ahead, guys, Datta and Deepak.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. We are going to talk about Jalna project. Jalna is in Marathwada region, which is one of the most water stressed in India, and there is significant impact with the water cycle there. So much so that the water is coming through the tankers. And we engaged with IAHV and Art of Living in 2017, 2018 to identify a cluster of 10 villages where we could go and bring intervention. And we started with also with government of Maharashtra. So this is in Jalna region. So this is a cluster of 10 villages, which is built on top of sort of a mountain top around 85 miles in length, and it has a catchment area pretty large. And we built around 2,000 structures and created a significant capacity. Now, with the great rains this year, the expectation is farmers will be able to take 2 to 3 crops a year compared to what they are taking 1 year a crop. And you can see how the landscape has transformed from a completely dried landscape to a green landscape full of water. Even the water levels have gone up significantly. So let's see, how this project was executed. Let's hear from Purushottam ji, our project manager on the ground.
मराठवाड़ा के जालना डिस्ट्रिक्ट के इस 10 गांव में आर्ट ऑफ लिविंग के माध्यम से, आईएचवी के माध्यम से, महाराष्ट्र शासन के माध्यम से और अमेरिका स्थित OVBI इस संस्था के सहयोग से ये आदर्श ग्राम विकास कार्यक्रम पानलोट विकास का एक दैदीप्यमान प्रकल्प 2018 से 3 साल के लिए हमने शुरू किया। इस प्रोजेक्ट की सबसे बड़ी खासियत एक है कि ये प्रोजेक्ट लोक सहभाग से केंद्रित है। श्रमदान के माध्यम से पानलोट के कार्य को शुरू किया। हर रोज 100, 150, 50, 400, 500 इस 10 गांव के पूरे लोग यहाँ आते थे। ये प्रकल्प शुरू होने के पहले 6 महीने आर्ट ऑफ लिविंग के टीचर और हमारे युवाचार्य 10 गांव में जाके जन जागृति का काम हमने किया। गांव के जो चालक लोग होते हैं, जहां सरपंच होते हैं, ग्राम पंचायत के सदस्य होते हैं और गांव के प्रतिष्ठित लोग होते हैं, इन सबको इकट्ठा बिठाया। इस 10 गांव के लगभग 400 युवाओं ने युवक नेतृत्व प्रशिक्षण कार्यक्रम किया।
सर्व गावाचे आम्ही कोर्सेस घेतले, सर्व गाव एकजूट केलं आणि त्यानंतर आम्ही श्रमदानाला सुरुवात केली।
मी पहिल्यांदा भरती पाडत होते, तेव्हा LTP कोर्स केले ना, त्याच्यानंतर मग मला खूप काय आनंद वाटला त्याच्यामध्ये, की मला वाटलं की त्या गोष्टीला हातातच नाही घ्यावं। मी बंजारा समाजची आहे, मी सारा श्रमदान करून इथलं सारा काम रेडी झाल्यावरच आम्ही जायचो।
फिर WTR में 10 दिन तक हमने इन 5 गांव के 50 लोगों का टेक्निकल ट्रेनिंग लिया।
अशा डोंगरावर मोठमोठे डोंगर असते, त्याच्यावरून पाणी आमचं खाली जात होतं, आम्हाला पाणी भेटत नव्हतं। आमचे छोटे छोटे खेडे आहेत, तिथं नेऊन आम्हाला ट्रेनिंग दिलं। समतल सर कसे, खोलसर कसे, DFCCT कशी, LBS कसे, दगडाचे बांध कसे, सगळे म्हणजे काम आम्ही करून त्याचं पाणी अडवण्याचं काम केलं।
ऐसे ही एक 20 मीटर के DFCCT में अगर बारिश आती है और ये भरता है तो इसका कैलकुलेशन है 20,000 लीटर पानी इसमें रुकेगा। और 85 किलोमीटर के पहाड़ पर लगभग 2000 ऐसे 20-20 मीटर के बॉक्स इस साल पूरी तरह से इसका काम पूर्ण हुआ है। तो एक बारिश में 4 करोड़ लीटर पानी इन पहाड़ों पे रुकेगा।
So in terms of the impact, basically, we not only address the water challenges, but we also planted trees, which are fruit-bearing trees, which can yield additional income. We also trained around 25 to 40% farmers. Actually, we've trained all of the farmers, 30,000 farmers, on organic farming, and out of which 25 to 40% have already taken up organic farming. And out of which, out of 30,000 farmers we trained, 150 farmers have already turned to entrepreneurship. They are doing sericulture. So we are seeing downstream benefits of this program, not only addressing the water poverty, but also bringing sustainability and additional sources of income for our farmers.
Thank you so much, Deepak, for sharing this awesome work with us. And with now, I'd like to invite Datta Patil to share how this whole initiative was initiated. He was actually, when Datta Patil came in, this was really the first project we had initiated with OVBI. And please take it over, Datta.
Hey, thank you, Satish. So as you guys are aware, we are doing this project lead presentation pan India, per state. But we thought of inserting one particular village story as a journey, just to give a perspective, how the whole OVBI initiative has been started. So this is back in almost 5 years, in 2016. It started with my native village, and before I talk further about that journey, let me give you a perspective of what has been done in that village, or what are the watershed structure exist there in that one particular village. So we did kind of canal desilting for 20 kilometers, check dam. There are 20 check dams. Cement check dams are 28. Gavin check dams 3. Compartment burned down 1,500 hectares, 12,000 trees, 2 hectares CCT, 2 big ponds. These are watershed structures, essentially preserves 100 crore liter of rain water per year. And if you look at the amount of money we spend, and then the cost of preserving 1 liter rainwater is comes down to 50 paisa per liter. So that's what essentially this village had. Now let me briefly talk about the journey little bit. So while I was preparing these slides, Satish, the first one is way back in 5 years. So this was I was at my village and met 2 inspiring leaders on the ground, Makran Jadhav ji and Mahadev Gomare ji. So they were very active on water, and this is the year where all hands on deck kind of approach Maharashtra people were taking because of the drought, and I had no idea, and then wanted to initiate that project, watershed preserving rainwater project at my native place. Then as part of that, Mahadevji recommended me to meet Satish when I go back to can you go back to previous slide? So I came here and met Satish, and Satish was already considering starting a water chapter for OVBI, apart from what else we do at OVBI. So these are some pictures, just to give you a perspective. So this we met in a Milpitas, and then we did some fundraising initiatives, and that's the billboard at my village. So essentially, as I was using this phrase in one of the presentations, start is the key, and you'll find the way. And the next slide, please. So there is in a context of Maharashtra, or an even watershed, when they look at the role model villages, right, many people refer to Hirve Bazaar, which is a puppet of ours, and many NGOs, government taken a cue from. So this is a one village which has been a drought free back in 1990. So we are talking about 30. So those are the concept what we try to implement in this village, and we got amazing responses, and the yield has gone 2 to 3 times as we speak. 20 kilometer of canal is there. And while I was talking, I said 50 paisa per liter, that is the initial cost. And if you look at this project completed in over a period of 3 years, but last if you look at every year, that 50 paisa cost goes diminishing, it goes down, So some of our leaders also went from USA to Halgara. So there's one Manu, our water chair head, Mohanji and BVG visited that place. So this has been turned out to be really inspiring, what we started. And those are some of the learnings we took it, how do we engage with India team, what are the challenges at a India level, and those are the feedback we incorporated while scaling further into say Karnataka, Maharashtra, and yeah. With that, next slide please. So some of this was the before picture, and it's actually at the same place, by the way. This is after picture. If you go, can you be on that first slide, previous slide for 30 seconds, just to get a perspective? So these are the two trees. Let's say in the next, this was a canal, over a period of time, the silt has accumulated, no one has paid attention. These are the second lines that connect further to the river. So so when we go back to the next slide, you would see that these same three trees, and look at the transformation that has happened. So and this is only the drone camera could capture 1 or 2 kilometers, but trust me, in a radius of 3 kilometers. So we have 20 kilometers of such canals that are right now filled up. So that's the amazing state. Next slide please. Okay, cool. So with that, back to Satesh. It's pretty nostalgic, Satesh. 5 years back we met, and how it has transformed back into the mega scale projects what we are doing. So thank you for what entire volunteers. I just, maybe before I hand it over, may I just call out a couple of guys, because OVBI team, people, you, Satesh, particularly Mohanji, BVG, Lochen, Sudarshan, Ashwini, Sujit, they have been a very pivotal in laying this foundation for the water chapter. And on the ground, Rameshji, Himanshu, Mahadevji, Makranji, and Amit Deshmukh, who was our project hire. So thank you guys. Your initial efforts has led to this amazing journey for OVBI. Back to you, Satesh.
Thank you so much, Datta, and thank you for inspiring us to scale these projects to greater heights. Appreciate it. So with this, I'd like to now move on to the Rajasthan projects, and like to invite Deepak Bhatter, who has been working with one of our other partners to scale our initiatives in Rajasthan. Go ahead, Deepak.
Thank you, Satesh, and thanks, Datta. It was amazing to see the start we got in Halgara. So here is what we have. So we ventured into the most arid state in the country, Rajasthan, with Akar Charitable Trust. This journey started with them in Pali district, which is within Rajasthan. It is one of the most water stressed district. And we looked at around 5 villages in Pali district, and where it was completely distressed situation, where farmers were taking only one crop, and then it's all rain fed, and there is no water. They migrate to the cities during the non-rainy season, and women folk have to walk miles to get water. Pretty much they spend half a day fetching water. So that is something which is something which they endured life, and all in all, pretty stressed situation in Rajasthan in these villages. So we looked at building check dams with Akar Charitable Trust. This is in Mavto and Agla Khet, and you can see how the change is happening. These are you can see the sandy soil, and as we build these check dams, and then after intervention, how these farms are coming to life, and in some places they are doing farming for the first time ever. So that's the transformation they have seen. They have seen from 1 crop to 3 crops a year. They have also started taking some of the livestock, so they have some additional income going. So, I mean, the livelihoods are improving. The migration has reduced dramatically. Women doesn't have to walk for hours to get water. I mean, they have water in their wells around the year, and there's more cattle because there is a cattle feed for them. So there is extra set of income which is available to them. So let's see how it has impacted their income potential. So on an average, the check dam cost is around 9 to 10 lakh rupees. And this is very interesting here is there's no government participation. It's all privately funded and also funded by the villagers. So the villagers provide the funding 33% come from Akar Charitable Trust, and around 33%, 34% is funded by OVBI. So it is basically equivalent between all the three partners, and the villagers have their skin in the game. They make sure that structure is also maintained properly on an ongoing basis. So as you can see, the column in yellow shows the income before intervention, column in green after intervention. So as we can see, the incomes have gone up in the first year after the intervention by almost more than 100% on an average. And this income keeps going up and up, basically as they have more water and they improve on their productivity as well as the yield of the crops. Satej, so basically, this is an important slide. So this with this intervention, we can really undo these things. First is the chemical farming, and then soil erosion with all the silting which happens, reforestation which we have brought into our villages, and then improve the water cycle. So it's just not about water that's solving the problem for the first year. You have to make sure that water stays there sustainably. And we are able to crack this code here by identifying different types of intervention and balancing it by increasing the farmer's income and at the same time, addressing the soil erosion situation by training farmers on basically organic farming and then driving tree plantation, which improves the water cycle as well. So yeah, thank you, Satej. Back to you. You are on mute.
Thank you, Deepak, for sharing the amazing work that's going on in Rajasthan. And with this, I'd like to switch gears into something very critical. One of the challenges that we've seen is that oftentimes executing on large projects requires a lot of upfront effort in terms of creating action plans, galvanizing the villagers and stuff, galvanizing the villagers, and also aligning the government in the direction of where we are headed. So one important thing that we have done now is looking at ways in which we could scale our projects rapidly. And two very exciting projects that we have put in place are this initiative with Jalseki in Jharkhand, and another one for scaling in Maharashtra. So let me just bring in Dolly right now to talk about the Jalseki Initiative in Jharkhand.
Hi, I'm back here on behalf of Manu Nambodari, who is leading our project in Jharkhand. It is Manu Nambodari and Anunay, who are coordinating with our partners, which is from IAHV in Jharkhand area. One of the key things that our people on the ground realize is that agriculture is handled mostly by women in all of these rural areas. The men have either moved to the bigger cities in looking for livelihood for their entire families, or else they have been caught up with vices like alcoholism and drug abuse. And so it has been women who have stepped up to become the guardians of their farms and bringing food to their families, and also hopefully making extra produce to sell in the markets. So having looked at these challenges, there was a team in IHV who had looked at how to empower the women in eliminating the water poverty and training them in soil conservation, organic farming, and become better entrepreneurs and bringing more income into their families. So that started a program called Jalseki. And part of what OVBI is doing to support the Jalseki program is to create an e-learning platform for them that could be scaled across India over time. But we're starting this pilot in Jharkhand itself. This e-learning platform will allow the women to they will train the Jalsakhis first to, Jalsakhis are what I would translate as women friends, like women buddies. And these are the leaders in each of the regions. Up to 500 of these Jalsakhis have been trained so far. The e-learning platform will allow them to take coursework in seed preservation, permaculture, science of the soil, solutions of the looking at various solutions for the water problems in their own regions. So it's specific for Jharkhand right now, but over time the curriculum will touch upon the water challenges in each of the various regions. About the solar dehydration, about how to sell vegetables and fruits that are not basically sold directly, to be able to dehydrate them to be sold in the market. And also about crop pricing, to make them better entrepreneurs. We want to make sure that they understand how to price their crops and be able to earn living out of it. So what we are looking at is the three parts to it. One, to bring the best practices, tools, and techniques to these women and also to their regions and the communities they serve. To create empowered change makers, these women end up becoming the change makers and who can communicate easily with the women farmers on the ground to train them, and also bring the behavioral change in the people for a healthy and sustainable world. These Jalsakhis, we believe, are going to be instrumental in changing how the farming communities and the rural communities are developed in India. Back to you, Satej.
Thank you so much, Dolly. This is one of the most exciting projects that we are, really looking forward to see how this can impact India. And I'm sure we're going to scale it way beyond Jharkhand to the rest of the country. Now I'd like to invite Dolly again to share a little bit about our next initiative called Jaldara, where we are looking to see how we could engage the farmers directly in scaling these water initiatives without, it's a lightweight intervention that can be scaled without much inputs from the government or the GI scientists that we typically involve in other projects. Go ahead, Dolly, please.
Thank you, Satej. So again, I'm going to be representing Manu over here, who is our, I would say, the Chief Product Innovation Partner over here. What has been most exciting for me as part of OVBI's journey in the last year is that while we have been dealing with COVID, OVBI team has also been looking into how can we leverage technology in various areas to solve the challenges. Manu Nambodari basically has been dreaming and obsessing over an idea about how to empower the farmers individually rather than depending on the NGOs or the governments to come in and do some intervention. He wanted to make sure that make sure that the farmers know exactly how to create water capacities in their own piece of land and be able to create that as a viral effect. So if you are digging a pond in your farm and you need help from your relatives and your friends, you bring them in, and then you bring them in through the app, you send them a WhatsApp message quickly, and then bring them in to help you out. And in turn, you go out and help them. And before you know it, there would be multiple farm ponds across individual plots of land. So this is to empower the villages to solve their own drought problems. And the goal is to first focus on 4 areas in Maharashtra. And the pilot starts in January for 6 weeks, working with our partner on the ground, Dr. Purushottam Bayal. And the mission is to expand to 100,000 villages and create 100 million recharge pits in individual farms that each of those farmers have been involved with. I would have loved to also add that our partner on the ground, Mahadev Gomare, has come up with what trees to plant on these pits so that there is better water seepage in the ground and the quality of the soil also gets better. So that is pretty exciting. I think I have added a video to just give you a glimpse of how these educational videos will be available to the farmers. Because of COVID, we were not able to go and take the footage of the actual farmers digging the pit. So our creative team on the ground created these animated videos to start the training process.
उन्हाळ्यामध्ये पाणी उपलब्ध असावे यासाठी पावसाळ्यात पावसाचे पाणी भरून ठेवण्यासाठी पुनर्भरणीचा खड्डा आपण खणणे हे तर सर्वात आधी करावे इतके सोपे काम आहे. तुमच्या गावात जितके अधिक पुनर्भरणी खड्डे असतील तेवढे अधिक पावसाचे पाणी तुम्हाला उपलब्ध होईल. असे केल्याने तुमच्या विहिरीमधील पाणी टिकून राहील, जनावरांना पिण्यासाठी पुरेसे पाणी असेल आणि कदाचित तुम्हाला शेतातून आणखी एक पीकही घेता येईल. तुम्हाला आणि तुमच्या स्नेही परिवारांसाठी तुमचे पाण्याबाबतचे भवितव्य पक्के करण्यात सहाय्य करण्यासाठी हे ॲप बनवलेले आहे. यामुळे तुम्हाला पाण्याबाबत स्वावलंबी बनता येईल आणि सरकार अथवा इतर कुणावर अवलंबून राहावे लागणार नाही. मित्र व घरच्या लोकांनी मिळून जल पुनर्भरणी खड्डे सोप्या पद्धतीने तयार करण्यासाठी हे ॲप मार्गदर्शन आणि सहाय्य करेल. तुमच्या घरात उपलब्ध अवजारे वापरून तुमच्या जमिनीवरील सर्वात खोल भागामध्ये हे खड्डे सहज सोप्या पद्धतीने तयार करा. या कामासाठी शासनाच्या परवानगीची आवश्यकता नाही आणि अवजारे आणि यंत्रे भाड्याने घ्यायचीही गरज नाही. तुमच्या गावात जमेल तितके अधिक पावसाळी पाणी अशा पुनर्भरणी खड्ड्यात जमा करून दुष्काळी परिस्थितीपासून तुमच्या गावाला मुक्त.
So this was an overview video, and we have multiple of these, about 8 to 10 of these videos that take the farmer through individual steps that they need to take and create water capacity in their own farms. Thank you, Satej.
Thank you, Dolly. And like you can see, this is something that has the potential to totally transform the state of water in India if we are able to, get a lot of farmers involved in this initiative. So looking forward to that exciting initiative as well. And with this, I'd now like to invite Meghavi Prashnani to our next segment. Meghavi is a research scientist with University of Maryland and also involved with a lot of projects with NASA. And she has been very instrumental in helping us understand the use of technology and see how we could use technology to first plan the projects, monitor the projects, and also see how we could put together impact assessment studies and see how we could put a feedback loop in place to course correct and be nimble in the strategy in which we're executing. So with this, welcome Meghavi, and please take it on.
Thank you, Satej. So GIS and remote sensing plays a very important role in our water project at various stages, right from planning to implementation to impact assessment, as Satej said. So starting with action planning, our GIS team in India uses geospatial technology to create the action plan for various interventions. Our OVBI tech team supports them in various manner, like getting better and high resolution data, improving methodologies, automation of certain processes. So for action plan, we use many GIS thematic layers, around 27 thematic layers, which you can see here. Lithology, geomorphology, lineament, soil, rainfall, water body, settlement, road network, administrative boundaries, digital elevation models, etc. So we use GIS softwares like ArcGIS, QGIS, Google Earth, and various others for various sub-processes. And the thematic layers are overlaid, integrated, and analyzed using these softwares and a Python script. And the action plan is created after multiple quality checks. So moving to the next slide, which is implementation stage. So during implementation also, GIS technology has various roles to perform. GIS-based apps are created for implementing the action plan, which can be used on iOS or Android devices. These GIS-based apps helps in identifying the exact location of intervention, which helps the ground staff to plan their visits And these apps are also used to collect the latitude and longitude along with photographs and other inputs for impact assessment. These field-based data sets are also analyzed with the lab data for calibration and validation. During implementation, our India team also supports the ground staff in their local language to help them solve problems on ground. So next slide, please. So for the third stage, which is impact assessment, we have many ways to assess the impacts of these interventions, long-term as well as short-term. We have recently created a mobile app for field data collection for our preliminary analysis of impact assessment. So we plan to see the impacts on agriculture, tree cover, water table, crop productivity, socio-economic, and also the environmental impacts. We use various satellite data, long-term satellite data, high and medium resolution satellite data, with optical and microwave sensors. We also use weather parameters, soil data, and other ancillary data for our analysis. We are also planning for socioeconomic impact assessment using geospatial technology. Figure which you see here is just an example of the vegetation change assessment. You can see from March 2014 to 2018, the improved greenness can be witnessed here. So we are also planning to study these impacts using very high resolution drone imagery for a few selected places. So you can see the GIS plays a vital role at various stages, and we are continuously working with the India GIS team for this. So this was a brief overview of our GIS tech work, and thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Meghavi. This is very exciting, and I'm sure as NRIs sitting, halfway around the globe, we'll be able to make a big impact in helping our counterparts in India solving India's water crisis. Thank you so much. And I think, I think we are done with our presentations. There are a couple more slides, and I'd like to bring in Dolly again and see if there are other questions that we'd like to answer. Okay, so while we're looking at the questions, just like to share our vision a little bit. Our vision is to transform India from a state of water plenty, from a state of water poverty to water plenty by 2030. We hope to really impact the whole country in the next 10 years. And we're working on a war footing to do that. Our mission is very complicated that Dolly has put together, and I'd like her to take it on from here. Thanks.
Yes, Satish, it is complicated because what we do is not a simple task over here. It is a Herculean task that we have taken it upon ourselves to literally transform India and make sure that our farmers and the communities in the rural areas thrive and are not bogged down with the droughts in the situation. So to do so, we want to leverage the technology and partnerships to transform rural India to be drought-free. That is our fundamental basic goal. In doing so, we also want to have them become economically self-sufficient and regenerative for the land. And we want to make sure that the people who depend on the communities who are in this rural area, they are becoming self-reliant and they have a means of sustenance. So I would like to also add to the next point is that to achieve this vision and mission, we are focused on water security as our primary way of working. And next slide, please. So water security is what we have been doing so far since 2016. But as we have been working in the years after, like for example, in Latur and other regions, we start seeing that just providing water is not the only answer. We want to make sure that the water is used properly. Once we have created the supply of the water, that the demand aspect is kind of handled properly. And we are also trying to do some eco-restoration on the way by planting trees along the way, making sure that the farmers understand that what crops take on more water versus which crops are more healthier and also take on less water, but also avoid the chemical farming. So sustainable farming is a very key aspect of our training and advocacy that we do. And last but not the least, as you saw with some of these apps, as well as some of the work that has been happening on the ground, we are now encouraging a lot of social entrepreneurship, whether it is in US for people who are trying to create these apps to support the farmers and the rural development or eco-restoration, or it is for people on the ground who could be creating their own enterprises, training other people like the Jalsekis, or with Mahadev Gumare, who has been teaching other farmers how to kind of do sustainable farming, so the sustainable and organic farming. So we are pretty excited about our journey forward with all of these aspects of the work that we are trying to take on. But fundamental work is to transform India from water poverty to water plenty by 2030. Our goal is to scale and grow 10x. I mean, if we want to do it for all of India and touch upon each of the regions of India, we really need to scale extremely fast, and we need your help. There are a lot of ways to help us, but the simplest way is to kind of email us and get in touch with us. You can also support us by donating to us. Go to our website, www.eliminatingwaterpoverty.org. You see that ticker down below. Just get in touch with us over there, or else donate to us over there, or email to us to join our team. Thank you very much. Thank you, Satej.
Thank you, Dolly. So
I'm going to try to see any questions if there are any. Okay, just a second. We have been getting a lot of amazing comments from Smita. Smita lives in the East Coast, and here is her comment. Thank you so much, Smita, for your shout out. And she's been a champion, and hopefully will be working with us very actively from the East Coast. With that, I will wrap up the session. I don't see any more questions over here right now. So I'm just going to wrap up the session. Thank you, Satej, Pooja, Satya, Deepak, Datta, and Meghavi. It is a pleasure working with all of you, and your passion shows through in every aspect of the work you do. To our viewers, we hope this session has been as insightful for you as it has been exciting for us to share this with you. We will have more of these sessions continuing every Sunday at 9 a.m. on the Pacific time on YouTube at OVBI, Eliminating Water Poverty. Many experts believe we have less than a decade to address the challenges in India. So we all need to help any way that you can. We would love for each of you to participate in whatever way you can, as I mentioned before, and or else pass this information to people you think who would be passionate about it. Collection of drops creates an ocean. Any contribution from you will help us eliminating water poverty in India. Please visit us at eliminatingwaterpoverty.org to find out more. You have a wonderful rest of the Diwali celebrations, and a happy Bhai Dooj for some of the people who will be celebrating that. Thank you so much for joining us.